Hi people, I hope you're doing fine. Today in our class we will be talking about a subject very important for you as students and for me as a teacher. We will be talking about evaluation. Of course, before the class you already know what to do, so let's start our class. First of all, we have to talk about a definition of an evaluation. We can define it as a systematic determination of a subject's merit, worth and significance using criteria governed by a set of standards. So, an evaluation can differ from what type it is the evaluation, but the purpose is the same: to check if the student is learning or not, what are the difficulties he or she have. And here we have an image of a girl in a group of people who just got into university, and as you can see they have the face is painted as in a kind of prank. So I also would you like to know what is your opinion about universities pranks? So those things about paint people's face, cutting hairs, as a kind of a ritual for those ones who just got in university. What is your opinion about that? If we talk about evaluation, it's also important to talk about report card. So a report card, or just report in British English, communicates a student's performance academically. So we have here in the image a report card talking about one student, and in the picture you see this guy, of course older. His name is John Lord. He's a musician from the band Deep Purple, but when he was a student he had a report card that was not so much a bright one, we could say. But the best thing is because in this report card it gives some indications of his abilities to later life. And actually he developed these abilities to the point that he became a musician, a professional musician. Talking about report cards, we have also to talking about e-report card. That's the electronic report card. Those ones who are issued in automated form by computers and may be mailed to parents and students. As for example, in Instituto Federal Catarinense we have the SIGA, is the platform where you get your e-report card. Here in the image we have a report card. As you can see, there's a lot of grades indicated F, and it means the lowest grade you can get by the American grade system. And this is a e-report card in a music course by one musician. And here is the picture of the guy. And this is very interesting. As you can see, is Ed Sheeran. I think all of you know Ed Sheeran is a very famous musician, but in the course of music he had very bad grades. It's interesting because it shows that sometimes the grade doesn't represent the real deal. So he was a famous musician even if he had bad grades in a music course. As anything we do in life, we need to have a purpose of doing something, and When you're talking about evaluation, the purpose is to enable reflection and assist in the identification of future changes. But you have always to remember that empathy, dedication, and self-knowledge are also taken into consideration in the evaluation. So evaluation is a broader way of judge some student. It's different from assessment. Assessment is more specific, whilst evaluation is bigger, and sometimes you have a student that he doesn't have so good grades, but he does his efforts or her efforts. He tries to be the best he can or she can, and this has to be taken into consideration too. We have here the picture of Jim Morrison, the singer for The Doors, when he was a youngster and he tried to get, studying to get into the university. Talking about studying universities, I bring you here some interesting information. For example, about this subject that is studied in the Liverpool University. They study the Beatles. So the Beatles is a module in this university. And actually it deals with the research on the legacy of the Beatles and its economic and cultural value. So you are not there to study the lyrics, to study what could be common to study about how to play the songs, but you study the importance, the cultural relevance of this band, not just to Liverpool, that I imagine maybe is the most famous Liverpool cultural element, but the effects of this band all around the world. The Beatles is considered the biggest band in the world, and of course it affects the cultural world in general. Talking about unusual subjects for studying in universities, we have here the Nazarbayev University. They have some modules that are very interesting for us to discuss. They have Cannibalism and Civilization, Organized Crime and Corruption, Anthropology of Space, Nomads, and Sociology of COVID-19. We have here the image of cannibalism moment, and I just think if you would be interested to study some of these models, and it's very peculiar to study things like that instead of studying the ordinary subjects we used to study in university. Hi people, hope you're doing fine, and today we will be doing an activity, but before it I have to show you something. These are the tests I did in the Vestibular 2003, I find it. This one is writing in Portuguese. The other one is Portuguese and not natural sciences. And it's interesting because some of you may complain about the name, but you should see how it was, or it is, I think it's still running, the Vestibular. It was much more difficult, much more technical, some things that I totally disagree. But my question to you is that, what do you think should be the best way to select students from high school to universities? So what do you think? You should have a test, you should have interviews, should have documents, whatever. It's up to you to give your opinion in this very important topic, essential topic for you actually. And I think in some of our class I'm gonna read the writing I did here because I think it's interesting to check after almost 20 years, right? See you around. Bye bye.